All right, so today was day 41 of the farmers' agitation. The weather's been extremely inclement where Delhi is concerned. We've seen rain. It's freezing. Now, the farmer and the government, the farmer unions and the government are going to meet for the 9th round of talks on the 8th of January. Can we expect any breakthrough? Because the sticking point has come to be just the MSP. Will the government hardwire it to the law? And if it does so, wouldn't the bills be infructuous? Let's cut across right now to our panelists. I have Gaurav Bhatia, BJP spokesperson. I have Kiran Kumar Vissa, co-founder. Riddhu Swaraj Vedika, a constituent of AIKSCC. Gaurav Bhatia, I hope we've all taken a deep breath from our last debate. But going forward, all eyes right now, Mr. Bhatia, on the 8th of January. It's the 9th round of talks. What can one really expect which hasn't been spoken about before? Because the main issue, Mr. Bhatia, was the issue of the MSP, and the farmer union say that wasn't even spoken about in the last round of talks.
So, Preeti, the dialogue so far, 8 rounds with the farmers, clearly reflects the high respect that we have for the farmers of the country. Narendra Modi ji has spoken on each of the issues, and on MSP that we are discussing. I must say, there was politics of deceit being done by the opposition party, and Modi ji made it very clear that MSP will continue. Now, I just want to say a few things. This is a government that has been taking progressive steps to ensure that the farmers of the country prosper. In my hand, I have an article written by M.S. Swaminathan ji himself. And I would just like to read one line, which I think is very meaningful for our debate. When MSP was made 1.5 times, he wrote, and I quote, "But although the NCF report was submitted in 2006, very little action was taken until the present government headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji took office. Fortunately, over the last 4 years, several significant decisions have been taken to improve the status and income of farmers." So there's a lot to be done. There is no denial to that. But I would only say, from giving soil cards, Kisan Samman Nidhi, having MSP implemented at 1.5 times, and other recommendations of the Swaminathan Commission, it is clear that we are committed to ensure their welfare, and dialogue is the only way forward, because Narendra Modi ji and the Honorable Supreme Court has said the same thing. And two of the issues, one was stubble burning, and second was an amendment that was being brought in the electricity bill, has been now, talked about, and it has been reconciled. So other two issues remain. MSP is one of them, and dialogue will definitely ensure that there is a solution and both parties are satisfied.
Mr. Bhatia, as I bring in Mr. Vissa, I just want to ask you, you began with how highly in regard are the farmers of this country where this government is concerned. Why wasn't even one of the 500 farm unions consulted before this law was pushed during a pandemic?
So, Preeti, let me tell you that first of all, these 3 laws were brought through an ordinance and Parliament was not in session. And after the ordinance was enacted, 92 lakh farmers have been consulted through e-webinars, and I can provide you the details. And second, let me say this, that this has been a long-standing demand of the farmers. I can give you a list of all the U-turns, and the farmers of the entire country are with Narendra Modi ji and the government. There are some sections within the farmers and political parties who are opposing, but dialogue will remain one, progressive way through which we will sort out the differences and the demands that these organizations are also making.
Sir, you're right. I'll bring in Mr. Vissa. You're right that, through eConnect, you did speak to a lot of farm unions, but that was once the ordinance was already pushed through. When you're pushing something which is so important, especially for the farmers, not a single farm union of the 500 we have in this country was on board or on that talking table. I'll come back to you. I want to just bring in Mr. Vissa. Mr. Vissa, the fact is, what Mr. Bhatia is saying is, it cannot be my way or the highway. These laws are there. Talk about it. Try and reach middle ground. If you're going to be stuck to hardwire MSP into law, that's not going to happen, because that goes against the grain of the bill, which propagates free markets, sir.
Okay, let me say a couple of things. One is that it's actually not true that the government consulted, forget the 92 lakh farmers. I don't know where that number comes from. I'm very sure that, no such number can be supported. Secondly, conducting e-webinars is not the same as consulting. And I have actually attended one or two of these webinars to understand what actually goes on there. And I found that it is just one-way propaganda that went on in some of these webinars. And even our agriculture university in Hyderabad also conducted such a webinar. And there was no, not even a single farmer or any participant who was allowed to speak. So let's not call them consultations. I think it's, it doesn't make any sense. And secondly, farmer organizations wrote letters proactively to the government from August 9th onwards to say that, these ordinances need to be modified in a major way, don't make this into acts and so on. But still the government went ahead. So I think that, basically this whole thing about we respect the farmer's opinion, I think has to be taken with a pinch of salt. That's what our experience has been through this whole round of negotiations, because while the meetings are ongoing, actually meaningful discussion on the objections which are being raised by the farmer unions has not been happening. And that is, I think, where the whole deadlock comes from. Because whatever the government put forward as quote-unquote proposals is something that which they did on December 5th. We discussed, we said, this is not sufficient. It doesn't address the key concerns that we have raised. Still, the same proposals are sent on December 9th. Again, the same proposals are sent on December 16th. So basically, I think last 1 month has basically been more of a charade of, that we are making some proposal rather than actually seriously addressing the issues.
All right. Okay.
Secondly, I would like to say that there are two things which are on the table right now. One is the MSP issue that, like you said, but the other thing is also about the laws themselves. These three laws, which we find are against the interests of the small farmers. We would, we raise fundamental objections about these laws, and the government still has not come forward with any meaningful response to that.
Okay,
so,
Mr. Vissa, I need to...
the farmers are still demanding that these laws should be taken back,
Sir,
and then MSP should be made into
I apologize to cut you short. I just want to take a quick, I just want to cut across to Mr. Bhatia for 10 seconds before I go into a break. Mr. Bhatia, the fact is, if these are the only 10 issues, can we expect any breakthrough at all? Or we're going to go back to round 10 of talks after 5 days of round 9?
Preeti, I would not be able to tell you how many rounds of talk would take place, but I can definitely tell you that we will ensure that a solution is reached, and providing an alternate market to the farmers is definitely better than subjecting them to one market of a mandi. And this was the demand of all political parties also. Kerala doesn't even have the APMC Act. Congress manifesto spoke about repealing the APMC Act. Now they're taking a U-turn and opposing just because Narendra Modi ji is bringing these reforms.
All right. Well, ultimately, let's just leave it at that. It's not about really politics. Is the farmer collateral is the question? Because there are, whether we like it, whether we don't like it, whether we agree with them wanting. The fact is, there are lakhs of farmers on Delhi's borders knocking in the dead of cold, and some resolution must be reached. I appreciate you both for joining us. I apologize for the short time that we had, but we ran completely out of time in our first debate. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you liked this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.